Into the what?
Computer.
Yeah.
You're plugged into the computer, so you can hear it all, both you and
Oh,
me.
yeah. I'm plugged directly.
You're getting all of it.
Yeah, me and you.
Are you recording now?
Yes.
Good.
Do you want to do it?
Do what? Welcome back to the Terribly Vexed
Yeah.
Podcast with me, Josh.
And Justin.
It's good to have you.
Yeah.
This is going to be part 2 of our introduction to conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory chit-chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went over a bunch of stuff last time in part 1.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, we're going to be kind of go over and over probably some of the same things, but then also we're going to be focusing on one particular supposed conspiracy theory this time.
Right. And before we get into all that stuff, can I just make some remarks on the last
Please.
episode? 2 things. 1, remember I brought up the movie Network?
Yes.
I just want to correct myself because I came across as even more of a douche idiot. It was not Mr. Bookman from Seinfeld in Network that said, "I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore."
Okay.
I knew I was wrong when I said it, and that's when I corrected it. It was Peter Finch that said it.
Of all the things that,
What?
I mean, we're going to be
I know.
making mistakes on this
I know.
podcast. I think
know.
that's
Well,
a
here,
given.
my thought on that is that,
We don't have all the answers here, everybody.
yeah, but I knew better than that. Like, I'm ashamed at that error. The other ones, all right, whatever. What are we trying to talk about here?
Right.
Real facts? No.
Well, in some instances,
I know, I'm kidding.
just enough to prove our point
Right.
that things are real and there are conspiracies.
Yeah.
But not enough to hopefully get us killed by any intelligence agency or government.
It's not a bad way to go out, though.
That's why we're going to throw in Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts occasionally,
Ghouls.
ghouls.
I'm sorry, I thought you were about to say something.
Nope.
Second thing.
Yep.
I left you guys hanging at the very end while Josh was tinkling. It was the Missing Enigma channel on YouTube. Remember that? I couldn't think of the name. That posted our audio on his video about the Dennis Martin appearance.
It was what again? It was the
Missing Enigma channel
right.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where the guy used our audio.
Yes.
Remember we were talking about that. I deleted the email, couldn't figure it out. The video's up though.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
watched
not
it.
that
You
bad.
watched it?
Yes, I did.
Watched the whole thing?
Very informative.
Yes. He did a really good job. He
Yeah.
compiled a lot of information and was really good.
Yeah, and you sounded great.
I did. I sounded pretty
Yeah,
good.
you had a little bit in there talking to Dwight.
Yeah. I made a comment on the video as well.
Did you?
I did. Just kind of talking about, Dwight being so gracious with his time in the interview and kind of really, like I said in the comments, I was just speaking for myself. I didn't want to speak for both of us as to what or who or how I thought Dennis was, disappeared off the mountain that day. I still tend to think it was probably some sort of, I hate to use the word feral or wild man, but basically I'm just saying somebody that could have possibly still lived in the backcountry of the Smoky Mountains at that time. Again, this was 52 years ago.
Yeah.
And the park had been around since the 30s. Like I said in the comments on YouTube there, it was very contentious. People were very angry that their property was being taken by the federal government to form a park. Some of them could have moved further into the interior and essentially, stayed there.
Yeah.
That's a possibility anyway.
Right.
That's what I think it was. Somebody that could have even perhaps been watching them the whole time. They were up there.
Yeah.
Stalking them.
That face you made. Missing a good face.
They were going to have to do videos, man.
I know, yeah.
All these faces
Some
I'm making are going to
screenshots.
waste.
So, yeah. I just wanted to bring those 2 things up, really. Just if you go to the Missing Enigma on YouTube, search Dennis Martin, A Great Smoky Mountains Mystery. And there it is. A lot of cool art.
Yeah.
the way he does those videos. I like it.
I'm assuming he does it himself, but
yeah, I don't know, but it's pretty cool either way.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So that's it, really. And what were you gonna? I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
No, that's fine.
Right at the beginning.
I think it's probably good that we do what I've heard other podcasters do at the beginning of their episodes, a little housekeeping to just sort of talk about a few various things and not go right into the topic at hand, the main point of the episode. Okay, so just before we started recording, you're having some issues with your back there.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I feel your pain, literally.
There we go.
Good. You found a happy spot?
Yep.
Need a pillow?
The problem is if I relax my back in any way, it hurts. So I gotta. That's my impression of my back. Just a constant. Yeah. Okay, I'm comfy now. Sorry.
Good.
Stretched out.
What were we talking about? Right.
What we were talking about.
Little housekeeping.
Yep.
Before each episode. I was thinking about in the drive over here to our secluded underground podcasting lair, I was thinking about some of the things that happened recently, like within the time of this recording a few days ago, which we were just talking about before we started. The president of Haiti was assassinated by a hit squad, and I think they've got about almost 20 guys arrested, but they're looking for 8 to 10 more that they think. And most of those guys are Colombians, and 2 of them are Haitian Americans. So these were guys that were from or worked, I think, in Miami, at least one of the guys. And again, this just happened a couple of days ago. So theories abound as to what's happened there.
Do you know what happened? Like how the hit went down?
Yeah, there's actually video on YouTube. And I assume the video was like somebody, it's at night, obviously, it's at night. And there's several trucks, and all these guys get out of their trucks heavily armed. And I guess the video is taken from somebody's phone, kind of in either a house or a small apartment complex. And the phone's kind of looking down on the street, and you can see the guys. And they're shouting something about being the DEA. So one of the American guys, you could definitely tell there was no accent. The guy that was saying that, at least the brief clip that I heard, it didn't sound like he had an accent.
Yeah.
And I think one of the guys that they have so far is an American. I think 1, maybe 2. So but most of them were Colombian, ex-military Colombian guys. So basically now mercenaries, I guess.
Yeah. So now because one guy's an American, the theories are going that this was a
right. I saw something where they said it was an article about somebody with the CIA. I don't know if it was the CIA director that was in Colombia recently on some sort of a sensitive mission down there. But that doesn't necessarily mean that had anything to do with this. Obviously, if it's known that he's going there,
yeah.
But they're pretty brazen, so it doesn't really matter either way.
Yeah, it's weird how those things all piece together.
Right.
A lot of times.
Yeah, well, if you're listening to a conspiracy podcast like ours, you're well aware the CIA has a little history with sort of assassinating presidents and dictators.
How so?
Right. That they put in place. El Presidentes,
right.
Prime ministers and things, third world countries, they like to sort of, create some civil unrest all over the world. But this is too, I think that would be too much of a quick jump yet to just say it's the guys were caught so fast. I think they were caught, most of them were caught right after the thing happened. So they didn't make it far before they were basically captured and,
Yeah.
So either they were completely inept.
Right. Like that to me means it's not anything sinister behind the scenes, because you think they would have some, again, this is all based on movies I've seen where they get away with it all. But were they meant to be captured? Did they
That's my first thought.
Do they just, so that's like,
I mean, you assassinate the assassins. You just get rid of them.
right.
They serve no purpose, really, other than the fact they're, of course, they don't know that. Maybe they were promised some sort of extraction.
Right.
And then they just weren't given it, Maybe
Yeah.
they were supposed to drive their trucks down to the pier and there was a boat waiting for them and the boat wasn't there. And who cares, the guy that's, planned this thing,
Yeah.
if they get caught or if they don't. Because now what are they going to say?
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Doesn't matter. So.
Well, hey.
But did the CIA probably know this was going to happen? Yeah, I'm sure. Probably.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Because there's close to 30 guys. They're heavily armed. They were organized. It was weird that the president didn't actually have like a security detail, which people are pointing out. Because this was in the middle of the night, and they basically just went up to his house, kicked in the door, and just went in and shot him in the face like 50 times. And
Maybe
his wife's, she was shot 3 times, and she's in a hospital in Miami right now.
It was dressed like a DoorDash or something like that.
Possibly.
Yeah, that was always one of my things. When I delivered pizzas, I told you that one time they brought me to the back of the airport. Like, as long as you got pizzas or food with you,
that's a way in.
You can get anywhere. They don't care. No security. I just walked right in the back. Come on in, y'all. Pizza. Yeah. So that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, but it's an interesting one. Just because there's so much happening right now, it's kind of hard for us at times to, you and I, sort of to delve into, the things that this podcast would have sort of been founded on, like ghosts and ghouls and UFOs and Bigfoot and things like that. When there's so much happening in the world that's that we're currently living in and living through.
Right. Fishy things.
There's lots of questionable things happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it difficult.
Did you want to get into the main one that you were going to talk about, or the larger one we were going to talk about today, or do you have other?
I was trying to think if I had any other housekeeping items that I'd like to talk about, but I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. So this one we were going to discuss mainly, right? We're probably going to go off a little bit, but you want to talk about the chemtrails.
Right.
Right?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, in part 1, we kind of mentioned lots of different conspiracies, sort of big conspiracies that people would sort of know about and be aware of, even if you weren't really into that sort of thing,
Yeah.
Like the JFK assassination, the moon landing hoax, the Bermuda Triangle's one that goes more into the,
I think I would say chemtrails is in there. Everybody knows about chemtrails.
I'd say
it's
a lot of people.
It's a herd of conspiracy, for sure.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, it's easily and quickly dismissed. And I guess today the point of this would be to just sort of take one of these, pluck a conspiracy out of a hat, and then just spend some time, like I have been the past few weeks, sort of digging into it to see where did it come from, why do people think that this is happening, and then just sort of, go from there. Pulling out real life instances of things that have happened in our past that we know about, that have been documented, and, actually have like paperwork on, like documents, things you can read, tangible things.
Right.
And then just sort of, go that route. Because sometimes, misinformation's a big thing,
Yeah.
You don't know where that misinformation comes from, or disinformation. Maybe that stuff's been injected into the conversation to make any sort of discussion about it seem kind of wacky and stupid, So you can't have a debate, or you can't talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My theory. Lots of wacky things put out there just to,
Right. Just to make you sound
crazy.
Yeah.
Insane.
Sure. That's kind of had the way I feel, like we were talking about before we started recording, about the chemtrail thing. My whole thing on it has always been like, doesn't really make a lot of sense. But then you shot me that look like, oh boy, Just you wait. So
yeah, there's
that's kind of like we're coming from both two different sides here in a good way. I think, right?
Yeah.
Like you're going to give us some facts.
There are going to be some facts.
Some, like you said, other instances.
Well, not the chemtrail conspiracy specifically.
Right.
For those that may not know what the chemtrail conspiracy theory is, would you like to sort of explain that a little bit? Or would you like me to?
I can.
You can, but...
I'm sure you'll have a much more eloquent way of saying it.
No, by all means.
I think everybody's seen them. The airplane trails. The little clouds they leave behind.
They're actually called contrails.
Contrails.
Condensation trails.
Yes.
But
people think
the theory is
what's inside of the condensation is biological, chemical, bad things put in there by bad people. Some geoengineering is involved.
I guess kind of what I've always kind of heard with the chemtrails thing is that it's like some sort of chemical concoction that is meant to sort of either manipulate the population that's being sort of sprayed, make them perhaps like in inner city settings, like make people aggressive and angry towards each other, short-tempered, but also sort of like dumb them down. Right. That's kind of the two main things that I've seen. Make people sort of apathetic, make them, lazy and not question, reduce their higher reasoning and, logic and, reduce that down to nothing, kind of just through constant chemical spraying. That's kind of what I've heard.
The first thing I ever heard about it was it was weather control. They were trying to create, various
weather
cloud covers and different type of,
and
stuff
see, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. That could be a separate conspiracy right there. The whole weather control thing.
But so?
What?
Do you have any examples?
Well, as a matter of fact, I do.
Oh, wow.
Somewhere in all of these notes.
Oh, oops, my bad.
It may just be that it was on my phone, but it was called Operation Popeye. And this was a cloud seeding operation that was taking place in Vietnam. Actually, I'm going to pull up, because most of these things now have Wikipedia pages.
Oh, yeah.
You can sort of just get, there's, pluses and negatives to the whole Wikipedia thing.
I heard somewhere Wikipedia is just as not knowledgeable, as credible, I should say, as Britannica or whatever it is now. Everything's fact-checked, but again, people can just get in there and write whatever they want.
Yeah, the fact-checkers thing is really funny, the way that sort of developed the past, we'll say, like 2 to 5 years, I guess, the fact-checking websites. And, I mean, Snopes has been around for longer than that, but there's others popping it up too, like what, MediaWise is one.
Yeah.
And who the fuck are these people to tell you what what the facts are, and and you can very quickly sort of dismiss a lot of their fact checking by just who funds this company, this website, who are these people paid by? That's a big one that's getting on my nerves right now.
Oh yeah, I believe you brought that up last time.
I hope I did.
Check where the money's coming from, I believe is what you said.
Always follow the money.
First thing, follow the money.
But going back to Operation Popeye, before we get into chemtrails, and again, there's no deep dive here on this. I'm not deep diving here.
Nope.
I'm just going to. Of course, a lot of people won't know to say what I've never heard of Operation Popeye, and there could have been more. If there was one, there was probably more operations like this. But again, just reading from the wiki page, was a military cloud seeding project carried out by the U.S. Air Force during the Vietnam War, 67 to 72. The highly classified program attempted to extend the monsoon season over specific areas of the Ho Chi Minh Trail in order to disrupt North Vietnamese military supplies by softening road surfaces and causing landslides. So they were able to, 50 plus years ago, control the weather. And all they did was, I'm assuming here, in this, they were flying planes, into storms or above storms, and just, like it says, seeding the clouds with some sort of concoction here of, I'm not sure what the materials were that they were injecting into the atmosphere.
A lot of chemicals, and I also heard metal. There's some metal in there.
This was the 54th Weather Reconnaissance Squadron carried out the operation using the slogan, "Make mud, not war," starting on March 20th, 1967, and continuing through every rainy season, March to November in Southeast Asia, up until 1972. And 3 C-130 Hercules aircraft, 2 F-4C Phantom aircraft based in Udon, Royal Thai Air Force Base in Thailand, flew 2 sorties per day. So was a routine that they were going through. And obviously it worked.
Oh, yeah. So make mud, not war.
Yep.
I like that.
So, but like a lot of people would still not know that, if you were to say, oh, we have the ability to control weather, they'd be like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
But this was just a very well-known operation that was running during the Vietnam War, and it was successful. So there's one example.
Mm-hmm. And didn't you say, I believe in the introduction episode, you mentioned Operation Sea Spray?
Yeah, Operation Sea Spray was
sort of similar, right? San Francisco?
Yeah, but they didn't use a plane.
Right.
They used a ship.
It was the same type of a spray, clouds, some type of the same population control kind of deal.
Well, from what I've read, the Operation Sea Spray was, I think they were just attempting to see how well the fog could carry a certain bacteria, and they did this off the coast of San Francisco, because obviously, I guess it's a city well known for its fog. So they wanted to see if it would carry it into the city. And just reading from my notes here, this is Operation Sea Spray. From September 20th to the 27th, 1950, the U.S. Navy released the pathogens, 2 types of bacteria, off the shore of San Francisco. Based on results from monitoring equipment at 43 locations around the city, the Army determined that San Francisco had received enough of a dose for nearly all of the city's 800,000 residents at that time to inhale at least 5,000 of the particles of whatever it was, the certain kind of bacteria that they had sprayed into the fog there.
Well, then they would just I don't know if you have this here. I'm literally asking. They would just test them, just at doctors' offices, do some other type of test. But really look for that secretly, kind of.
Possibly so. That particular kind of, if people got infections, which I think ultimately 10 to 12 people died from that operation. And of course, they didn't ask for people's consent when they did this. They didn't tell the city, hey, we're going to be spraying these bacteria. We think they're harmless into the fog, and we're going to let it carry out over the entire city. So don't worry about it. Don't worry. We'll be fine. I think they just did it, like a lot of these that I'll have in the notes today.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Right. That's the rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so not a lot of people died, but if you were one of those 10 to 12 people that died from a secret operation where the government was just testing some sort of bacteria on you without your knowledge, you'd have a problem with it, I think. I know I would.
Well, not if you died.
Your family might have an issue with.
Yeah. All right. What about COVID? Same kind of deal, right?
What's COVID?
I don't know. This thing that's going around, apparently.
You want to talk about COVID?
Yeah.
What's your take with the Delta variant? Just getting away from. Okay, we're just going to step away from chemtrails for just a second. And again, this is just to illustrate the point that yes, your government, if you're an American citizen or any citizen of any country that has a government, which most do, is capable of and will do and has done bad things to you or possibly your family members or people you know, and they're capable of doing it, and they will do it, and they have done it in the past. And what we're trying to illustrate here is a point.
Right.
That's all.
And do you think that's kind of what COVID is? You think it's a government? You think it's some sort of a, I don't know, experiment of some sort on?
It's interesting that we can discuss these things that have been proven to have happened in the past. If we start getting into the COVID stuff, though, I wonder what if we might enrage people to the point of...
It's good, right?
It's pretty contentious, this
It
whole
really
COVID
is.
thing.
I don't really understand why the...
It's interesting because you can talk about these things from 50, 70, 80 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that happened. But now you can't talk about certain things. It's kind of interesting.
I know.
But you're free to go ahead and talk about it. What do you think?
About COVID in general, or Delta variant?
Delta, COVID,
I got a theory
Epsilon, Omega, Lambda,
Lambda.
Omega Mu.
I got just a tiny thought on the Delta variant.
I'd like to hear it.
I think
we'd all like to hear it.
we had 4 years of Trump, and then we went right into COVID. Right? News. Happy as a clam. Something new every day. It was chaos. All of a sudden, Biden gets elected. The White House goes from 1,000,000 miles an hour to 0. Nothing happening. Crazy enough for the news these days. COVID's dying out, or whatever. The whole thing's dying down. We got it. Come on, guys. What are we gonna do here? Delta variant. Yeah. One doctor said something about a Delta variant, and then the news heard it, and now it's everything.
So you would think that the news is just blowing up something that...
Yeah. Not COVID as a whole.
Intentionally?
I think so, but maybe not for anything.
God, you're starting to sound like a conspiracy theorist.
But maybe
Isn't that weird?
Nothing more nefarious other than they need ratings, and like they're just trying to... Yeah, they don't know what else to do. What are they going to do? What else is going on in their world?
Not much, I guess.
Especially after they had it easy for the past 4 years, 5 years.
So you think the Delta variant thing is just further, I don't know, just sort of like continuing on with the COVID thing just to keep the pandemic hysteria.
Yeah. Clinging to it. And then, Fauci. Is he even still going? I haven't seen Fauci. I haven't watched anything about it. I'm over it.
No,
I'm vaccinated, so I don't need to listen to anything anymore.
It's so hard, I obviously don't give a shit about mainstream news, so if they're talking about on the television, I don't give a shit. You got to wait until something else.
Yeah.
Somebody else has found some kind of an angle.
Yeah.
Some researcher, an independent journalist has dug into something with some company that's doing something before you can see of anything what's going on. Because, if they're talking to you on the TV, it's a waste of time if you're listening to that. Because, all the media companies all 5 of them are owned by the same people,
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an extension of the government anyway. So it's not like it's
true. So
it's a joke.
Yeah. Have you gotten your Fauci ouchie yet? Or are you not ever going to?
I do not recall, Senator.
All right. Good enough for me.
Hey, if it's good enough for the Senate hearings, it's good enough for everybody that gets taken in front of those, and they can give the old, I have no recollection of that, Senator. It's good enough for me as well.
Fair enough.
I'm going to be using that a lot from here on out, Justin. I do not recall, Senator.
I'm not a senator, though.
I'll just say it to whoever.
Okay. All right.
Whomever. It's also from the movie Clear and Present Danger.
Never seen it.
Robert Ritter, when he's talking to Jack Ryan, he's telling him, this is something you're going to have to learn how to say. I have no recollection of that, Senator. You're the movie guy?
Well,
I'm the movie guy.
When you say that, it reminds me of Donnie Douglas telling Frazier to say, not to the best of my recollection. So it's kind of similar.
Same difference.
He's a lawyer talking to
difference.
Frasier about Niles having sex with Daphne.
Right. Same difference.
Yeah, so that's where I go with it. Frasier.
Just to go back to your Delta variant point there, I think you're probably right. There's some aspect of what you're saying is probably correct. I saw where they were, I think it was Pfizer, was already talking about making I assume to be a somewhat changed, different variation on the vaccine that they've put out now to supposedly a better option for the Delta variant.
Is it like a booster shot, or is it going to be like a whole? I think it's going to start vaccinating people with that new thing now.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't read into it. I saw a headline, and it was just basically talking about probably a booster, but this would be a third shot. So you've already had your 2, and this could potentially be a third if this one's developed, I guess, within the next few months. And people sign up for it and then want a third shot for the supposed Delta variant. It seems like that could be. There's just been some issues in the past when people are getting so many vaccines. I think right off the top of my head, I'm thinking about the whole Desert Storm syndrome thing that happened.
Yeah.
They were preparing all these soldiers to go over to the first Desert Storm, prepared them for possible, biological agents that they could encounter. Saddam. This would have been the first round, I guess.
Thrax.
What's that?
It's anthrax.
Among others.
Right, but man, that was the big one, right?
That was that one. It was a bunch.
Okay.
But there wasn't just shots that they were giving him. They also gave him a pill. And I know about this one kind of firsthand because Dad just barely, he was going to have to go over there. And he got out of it somehow because they were administering all these vaccines to people at the time, piling them on, okay? And bad things started happening to people. It wasn't just shots, it was pills. So, and that became the Gulf War syndrome, like neurological problems and all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought, well, if they're making a third shot right now, like, do you really want to get so many piled in such a short period of time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because really, there's still, it's not FDA approved. And there's no long-term studies on the effects of this new type of mRNA vaccine.
Right.
So,
and
questions.
100%. And, I may be one of those people calling that number in 20 years if you or anybody you know were given the Pfizer vaccine. That could very well that could be me. But
what's the one I always see? It's like the bladder mesh, where the people their intestines grew into the mesh. And did that seem like a good idea to have that put in there in the first place?
It seems odd that would even be somebody's thought.
How is that a good idea?
Yeah. Isn't there a vaginal mesh? I think there's something like that.
I think so, yeah. But I guess what was happening was people's internals were growing into this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, like a tree grown into a fence. Yeah.
That's
gross.
Terrifying.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah, so you see those all the time, if you, were, the result of this, you were in this study, if you did this thing, I mean, it's essentially everybody's sort of a lab rat right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I did it, though. I figured, what the hell?
I understand.
That's my attitude about it.
And I would, I'm not a medical professional. Neither one of us are. So whatever you feel as if you need to do for yourself, that's fine. We encourage that. You do whatever you feel you need to do.
Don't listen to us.
Don't listen to us. What do we know? We don't know shit.
Yep. All right. Good night.
See ya. I cannot, for the life of me, and I shouldn't even bring it up, but it's just kind of interesting. And let me see real quick. And mate, did I text it to you last week about the one company, the one pharmaceutical company that had they basically just have one vaccine or one commercial product on the market right now, and I just thought that was kind of weird because they had assets in like the billions of dollars. Did I send that to you last week?
No. You sent me, what was that, Project... was it MK Naomi?
Oh, yeah.
Naomi?
Yeah, we won't get into MK Naomi this
I almost read
this
that
episode.
Like an idiot.
But we will soon enough.
Yeah.
I'd send
and then
it to
a very
couple
nice
people.
Steve Buscemi waving gif right after that.
Yeah, it's Moderna. I was able to find my notes here. It's Moderna's only commercial product right now. I was like, am I reading this right? It's just the COVID-19 vaccine. The company has 24 vaccine candidates, including a vaccine candidates for seasonal flu, HIV. But this company's been around for like 11 years, and they have assets in the billions of dollars. And the only product that they have right now, and I'm assuming this just comes from them getting all kinds of funding from one interesting group I saw. We've mentioned a couple of times here. DARPA again showing up.
Oh boy.
Yeah, 25 mil.
So they had nothing before, like, this is what they have now.
Currently, the company's only commercial product is the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. So they've had a lot of, things pulled because of legal issues, which I think I posted on Instagram, but I don't know if that was that Moderna or was that Pfizer?
I think it was a Pfizer.
I think it was a Pfizer when they had the $2.3
$1
billion settlement that they had to pay out because of their bribing of doctors. Look, people should take this information and retain it. I think this is a problem. Retention seems to be a problem with Americans.
100%.
And this was like, what, 2009 or something like this. This was a few years ago. So, like, you should be mindful of these things. Yeah, 2.3 billion. And what were they doing? They were paying off doctors, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were sending them to lavish resorts, buying doctors' approval of certain vaccines and products that they were trying to sell. Do you not see a problem with that? Not you particularly, because I'm looking at you right now.
You are. And honestly,
the listener. You don't see a problem with it.
Kidding.
But the other one was also another $60 million. Actually, I think Pfizer's had to pay the most with settlements and things like that. Again, bribing foreign officials.
But is that because they're just one of the largest out there?
They're all pretty big.
Yeah, but I don't know. I know that. Have you ever looked into Bayer at all? The company Bayer?
I have not. I'm familiar with Bayer, though.
Good Lord. Talk about a large company that is filled with bad stuff. Bayer. Look into that. I guess they started out, it was pretty much just heroin. That's what aspirin started, just heroin tablets.
Most medicines
and then
were heroin and cocaine.
Yeah, and then from there, and then I think it's Bayer. They're involved with the growth hormones and stuff now, and like farming, and they have their little
steroids,
fingers, and everything.
Most of them do. It's weird now. You see this push, this sort of like worship of these massive companies, which like 10 years ago you wouldn't have seen it, but now I guess because they own all of the social media and they own all the companies and they own all the websites and they're all one big happy family, you just see this massive push that is just, this isn't what people want. This isn't what people are like begging for. Has it ever existed where people are like, yes, we love big pharma. Yes, we love massive corporations, multinational conglomerates.
Yeah.
So clearly this is, if you're getting all your information from social media and all that shit, again, you're wasting your time and you're getting misinformed. But real quick, just to go back to the whole Moderna thing we were talking about there.
Yeah.
So this, again, just pulling from their wiki page, not doing a deep dive, but, just talking about where they're getting some of their funding. So you're getting it from DARPA. That's a military, wing of the military. And I want to say that I've seen some of this funding come from the Pentagon. The Pentagon funding pharmaceuticals. And I'd also looked at Snopes in regards to Moderna recently. There was some sort of and I may have read it wrong because I didn't do any sort of like super deep, investigative journalism here to find this. I just, again, went to the Wikipedia and looked through the various.
Yeah.
So it's like they were trying to hide it, but like the conspiracy was, and Snopes debunked it, of course, that Fauci had some sort of financial incentive to sell a particular kind of vaccine or vaccines in general, which is why he's pushing them. And they said that, he had no ties to Moderna. He had no ties to any particular company. I go to the Moderna wiki page. What do I see? Developed by Moderna, the United States National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, the NIAID, and the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, talking about the development of the COVID vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the NIAID, that's Fauci's organization. So
wow,
that's a direct link of him helping, of him and his organization helping Moderna, who's being funded by DARPA, among others. Okay, military, what we got going on there.
Yeah.
To develop these vaccines. And yes, if he's helping, then he has a financial incentive. There is a financial incentive there. So that's no conspiracy. They just list that on their wiki page. And Snopes debunked it? I don't understand. I'm confused. I'm confused.
Yeah. See, I never really understood Snopes. Like you said earlier, who the hell knows who these people are? Too?
Oh, they're a joke.
It's like, so they're just going to say whatever the hell they want to say, whether or not it's true or false.
Yeah, so like you can click on a link on certain, I guess, social media and I guess like Facebook and things like that where they're really dug in deep. If somebody posts an article to something and their fact-checking team will show you that, they'll give you a little message saying that this is inaccurate information. Who are these people? Who are these assholes?
Yep.
These fucking zeros, man.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Who's signing their checks every day. And I would encourage our listeners, our intelligent listeners, who are probably already doing this anyway, but to just dig into these fact-checking companies.
What?
What?
No, nothing.
I would just encourage our listeners to dig into the fact-checking companies and organizations, media-wise. Yeah, and look who owns them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit.
That's who are those people, they, when you talk about they do this and they know that. How high up is the they level?
Oh, we're nowhere near it when we're talking about these little peons down here that are fact-checking articles on Facebook. They're little henchmen,
right,
you know?
Right. Yeah, but then I'm saying like Fauci. Is Fauci one of the they, or does he have a they watching him? The president, is he a they, or he's just like their guy that says what they really want to do?
There hasn't been a president for like 100 years, man.
Right. They just go out there and say what they want them to say.
Right. It's theater. It's wrestling. That's all it is. It's wrestling. My buddy Kyle, that's what he always says. He's right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
There's the heel over there, the bad guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And over there is the good guy. And we're the good guy. And they're the bad guy. Ooh, bad guy. Ooh.
And the heel, he always does have his time in the sun. So would that be Trump? Was that Trump's? Although some people may like him. I'm not on either side. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But
we'll get hate mail.
Yeah.
You know.
Please.
Some, yeah, would be great.
Yeah.
Send it our way.
I would love an angry email.
Look, if you're listening to this, if you enjoy what we're talking about, you don't subscribe to the two-party system, so I really don't think you and I have to worry about alienating people, you know? Like right then when we started, Trump, you know, and then people are like, well, these sons of bitches, I liked them, but now I can't because they don't like Trump.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy to me that's what that whole thing turned into.
That's what it's supposed to be, though.
I know, but
that's what it's supposed to be.
It's just, this went off the rails. That whole thing was 4 years of and then who knows what's going to happen next election? Do you hear this whole thing? He's coming back.
Right.
Trump's coming. That's like
the QAnon thing, is that actually right now Trump is working secretly with military generals.
Oh boy.
And they're gonna take it back. It's there's nothing to indicate that, but
I know it's insanity what's happening. And
but that's the point.
Right.
It's to keep everybody just sort of like running in circles.
Mm-hmm.
It's nonsense. It's wrestling.
Do you think the storming the Capitol thing was like, I don't want to say planned, but you think they wanted to get the people riled up, and then they're like, oh,
absolutely,
shit, they're actually doing it. But do you think they panicked when they saw people that were actually doing it? Or were they like, all right, it's fine? Not fine, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is all part of the plan.
I mean, if you were, I don't know. I listen to a lot of people that talk about that thing, and I tend to agree with them. It was it was orchestrated to push people into doing something that was, it was dramatic.
Yeah.
You know, was it the greatest upheaval since the Boston Tea Party of the was it the War of 1812? I don't think so. I don't really think it was this massive thing that the media has sort of built it up to be. I think that's all part of the theater, part of the show, part of the production.
It was a little dumb, wasn't it? That whole
they were a bunch of clowns.
Like, what was their goal? I still am not clear on what exactly their goal was when they did that.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, they ran in there, and then
an hour later they walked out.
Yeah, they tried to take a podium. Looking through documents. What, they think they were going to find aliens, proof of aliens on our desk? What come on. What were they trying to do?
Did they think they were going to go in and take people hostage and hold them hostage and then reclaim the presidency or something?
I don't know.
I think it was just to get people that believed a lot of that QAnon horse shit riled up. But again, hey, what do we know? If you are a believer in the QAnon and enjoy that stuff, we encourage you to do that.
Hey, send us an email. Explain it to us.
In a hateful email.
In a very strongly worded, hateful email, please. I'll read it.
Send it our way.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, we look forward to it.
Yeah.
Because I won't list any names here. Don't tell any names, but I've actually talked to a few people that are QAnoners. They don't like to be called that, by the way, at least the ones I've talked to. And they really don't even like to talk about it, even though it's easily accessible to what the whole theory is behind everything. And, they've just got their own, I hate to say it, and I shouldn't say it here.
Say it.
It's kind of conspiracy theory for dummies, okay?
Oh, okay.
I don't want to be mean, but it's kind of, there's no substance to it. It's anonymous things that were posted on a message board, and this is supposed to be like the inside track to what's happening behind the scenes. And for some fucked up reason, Donald Trump is leading this massive, like if you say it out loud, which I wish these people would do if they ever hear this episode that I know, if you say it out loud, it really doesn't make any sense. You have no proof of anything to prove anything that you're thinking. Bless you in all that you do, and I hope you live for 1,000 years. But
Terribly Vexed Podcast at gmail.com. Send it.
We're going to probably get a lot of hatred towards.
You brought up the message boards and QAnon. Is that, I could be dead wrong here because it's like, what is it, 4chan?
I think it was 4chan or 8chan.
So yeah, I don't even know what those things are, honestly. What's the green text? What's that? That's been going around, the green text.
I don't know.
Okay, I don't either.
I
think that's one of those things for the younger folks.
I've just, as far as the QAnon thing goes, I have just what I've been told in some conversations and a few things I've looked up online, but I've spent no time.
Yeah.
I've wasted no time on that stuff because there has been nothing. They've had predictions. They've had weird predictions that haven't come true. It's weird. I was giving shit to this one guy, because there was a thing about he's coming back in March.
Yeah.
They're gonna, and that never. It's weird when you start getting into that sort of thing where there's predictions made like that. You're starting to get into sort of like culty type behavior where people are just believing and just they're grasping for straws at that point. They have no idea, but somehow they're still hanging on to it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing past, again, just some anonymous messages that were coming out.
Yeah.
They thought they were being spoken directly to.
And all the
prediction.
Yeah. And the prediction things like across the board, like as far as conspiracy. Aliens. There's one July 18th.
Something's happened in July?
That's when some
18th?
guy, I don't know. I just heard about that. I heard about this one just the other night. Something about some guy I have this wrong. I'm just going to give you a quick little rundown. Some guy got abducted. The being said, July 18th, 2021, we're going to reveal ourselves because humans will be too far into space and all that. Bezos is going. Musk is going. And so, of course, now this thing has come to the surface. But,
wow.
Who the hell? Nothing's going to happen. Let's be honest. Nothing's going to happen July 18th. As far as aliens go.
That's great.
Yeah. I want something to happen with all of my heart. But
I mean, I don't want to completely just poo-poo predictions because if you're a good journalist, for example, or you're a student of history, you can look into history and sort of predict what may or may not happen. You know what's the whole pandemic thing has really thrown people for a loop. People that are I would even say are in the know about a lot of stuff and really are good journalists, people that are good conspiracy theorists, people that read stuff like what we're talking about, like chemtrails and stuff, focusing on real things that have happened. The pandemic thing and all of the other things that are attached to it, contact tracing, all of the weird pushes that are happening now between all these different organizations, which we talked about in the part one.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just taking people and because we're living through it right now. So it's weird. You talk about normally like conspiracy theories. You and I having a conversation about them, for example. We're talking about them in the past tense because they happened. And it took years for the information to come out. Decades, more than likely. And we're talking about it in the past tense. And it was not something that encompassed the entire earth. Yeah. Now, the entire world is involved in these things. What I'm talking about is like you see when I say other things that are attached to, say, the pandemic, the way people in charge, in control, have been able to turn everything off the flip of a switch. And that's a problem. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That in itself is a problem. The way they can stop everything, Yeah. So if you're like the New World Order people, it's always talked about as if it's 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. I hate to break it to you, it's already here. Okay?
Yeah.
Everyone's acting in unison. All of these things are happening together right now. One world currency, obviously we're talking about digital currency coming along with all of this stuff too. Isn't that weird how all these things are kind of happening attached to this? You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah. I did hear a theory about Bitcoin and crypto and all that, is that was the last thing of COVID, like during the whole pandemic, nobody had anything to do. So the last thing they did was get into digital currency, cryptocurrency. Now that it's ending, it's just going to fizzle out. Which I'm not saying it is, because isn't Visa now accepting it? So it's here to stay. But I don't think it's going to be as big as everybody thought it was.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm wrong. Now that's going to be massive, but
it's hard. I'm not going to on this podcast. I'm not going to make any predictions.
I'm just saying what I heard. I'm not predicting that.
Right, you know what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
Like to predict, because I know some banks, I guess, are already starting to develop their own cryptocurrencies. So that would be an official cryptocurrency. Which the whole point of cryptocurrency was that it's outside of the system, right?
Yeah, but then I think did we already talk about this. I think speaking of conspiracies, the whole cryptocurrency thing, all those ransomware attacks. That's the government doing those, so they have an excuse to get their hands dirty in there and get up your ass about your crypto. Get their taste.
Right.
So that's another thing
I
that's
mean,
happening. Who knows? But
if the cyber attacks and stuff like that, if you're talking like certain, they always like to blame certain groups for any sort of cyber attacks, and I always find those claims rather dubious. You never know where those really came from.
Yeah.
Like the oil pipeline shutdown,
Mm-hmm.
that was blamed on Russian hackers. Do you believe it was Russian hackers? I mean, we're getting this from official channels.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, maybe not, probably not. It could just as easily be anybody. You never know.
Yeah.
It could be a state-run,
Yeah. I like how they are sticking with the Russians, though. That's been going on for a while. Like they're
70 years.
Yeah, they're clinging to the Russians.
And China's the new one too, though.
Yeah.
I would just encourage our listeners also to, when you hear about these, attacks and stuff, as a lot of, independent journalists have probably mentioned that you may also be listening to or reading. You just always have to question everything. When we're talking about these are being attributed to a certain group of people, they may or may not be those people doing them.
Yeah.
We have no idea.
Right. Yeah.
And you never will know in most cases. You'll never know. So.
Did you hear about China doing this thing now? They're with their 10-cent games. It's a big gaming company over there. Again, this is just a headline I saw today while I was on the toilet at work. Skimmed right by it.
I haven't heard this one.
It was the 10-cent gaming. They now have they can track who's playing their games to see if it's a minor playing one of their games past curfew. So they can track them that way.
Well, everything's being tracked. So
I know. I'm just saying that's just out. They're just admitting that. Yeah, we're gonna do this because they're not allowed to be playing their games over there after whatever the hell time.
Yeah, everything's being tracked.
Yeah,
everything's being tracked and recorded.
Yeah, and we do that. That's what I was telling this guy at work. He's so upset about all that stuff, but he's doing it to him. He has an iPhone and Alexa in his house. So
this was the conspiracy guy you were talking about, right?
This is the guy the Bill Nye guy. God. Yeah, he'll go off on that. Bill Gates. Yeah.
Oh, you said he has an Alexa?
Yeah.
And what are the other versions of those things? Those
Alexa, the Echo, Siri.
How could you have one of those in your house if you're even remotely sort of interested or aware of these things? That is an absolute CIA, NSA listening device that you're implanting in your house.
100%. And you can go. Do you have an Alexa?
Absolutely not.
I didn't think so. But
all this biometric bullshit can kiss my ass.
You can go on there. My mother has one, and I have gone. It's on through my Amazon account, so I can go on there and see what she's been listening. I can track her music listening. But you can click on. You hit this little play button. It says Bruce Springsteen, whatever. You click play, and you can hear Alexa play. It records my mom requesting to play it, but somehow it can hear Alexa, listening to everything, huh?
Everything.
Always.
Everything's being recorded. Everything.
Yeah. So, and at one time our phones were listening to it. We were talking about owning a Fox in Tennessee. And I wonder if you can own one. Is it legal? And then pulled my phone out, went to, is it legal to own? And it auto-filled a Fox in Tennessee. So
pretty specific. Seriously doubt somebody had that question.
Yeah.
Prior. So. Yeah, and you'll see, and I've heard several people talk about this, ads on their social media if they talk about something. That's an easy one.
Oh, yeah, always. That happens to me all the time.
Yeah, and a couple years ago, I had noticed that myself, and I was like, am I just imagining this? That I was thinking about a particular camera tripod, and now that camera tripod is being
Yeah.
in ads given to me in various social media platforms. No.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty benign advertising. We get that advertising is going to be smashing us in the face all the time, but
yeah,
it's the other things that are, all the other stuff that goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, again, in part one, we talked about Facebook and LifeLog, which was the DARPA project, one ending on the same day as the other began. It's become quite clear now that social media wasn't the bring us all together, let's all share our photos of family and keep in contact bullshit that they originally sold it as being.
Yeah.
It's clearly intelligence run for the purpose of collecting data on people. That's all it is. Same with Amazon, same with Google.
Yeah.
There's so many people talking about just getting away from Google products now because Google in Silicon Valley is so closely associated with the intelligence community. You just need to get your shit away because they're reading every single thing you own. Everything that goes through them is, being compiled.
It's so damn convenient though, Josh.
I know.
Google
Docs, we use it ourselves.
Yeah. I got a brand new Kindle. Alexa, order a Kindle, and next thing I know, it's at the door.
Right.
They didn't have to do a thing.
Well, there's a price for that convenience though, you see.
It's true. And I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I think I'm okay with it at this point.
I think most people are.
Yeah, I think I'm one of those people.
No,
I'm not doing anything crazy.
Most people don't give a shit.
I go to Pornhub every once in a while. That's all they're going to see.
All right.
Know what I'm saying?
Don't try to run for any elected office. I don't think you will.
That's long gone.
I've had that conversation with several people. Like, just through text conversations alone, there is no way my life would be ruined.
Yeah. I can't imagine the stuff. I don't even remember.
You're going through everything.
What I have
ever
posted?
said and thought, like in a text right now. Like,
yeah. Well, not even that. Like, I used to have Twitter. I used to be on Twitter all the time. Like, when Twitter first started, God knows what I threw up there.
Yeah.
Facebook. I used to be on Facebook all the time, just posting movie reviews and dumb. Oh, this video is cool. Check this out. Maybe something shitty also. I don't even remember.
Yeah, and see,
but
that
God
stuff
knows.
is being used against
there.
people. They're grabbing, tweets from 15 years ago or however long Twitter's been around. And
it's stupid.
But, that works now. That works because, what you said so many years ago, supposedly that matters. And that's your entire person.
I know. Yep.
But like, but that was the point of it. And Twitter's another good example because all these platforms are industry standard.
Yeah.
Everybody uses them. LinkedIn, for business, Twitter. That's like an official form of communication between people now. It's Facebook's the same way. And that was by design. That's what people need to know. That's the important part here. These billionaires, they didn't just pull themselves up by the bootstraps and build something from their garage. If you think that, you're fucking stupid, okay? I hate to break it to you.
I like to think that.
That's what most people do. It's the American dream, right?
Yeah.
But it's total horseshit. They were propped up because they were going to have very powerful, and they were going to create these very powerful platforms to get everybody on, or as many people as they could, for the sole purpose of tracking them and just, having everyone submit their information. Before you had to gather the information yourself.
Right. Now
the agencies had to do this.
Yeah.
And it was a challenge to get all this information. With Facebook, they know everything about you.
Yeah.
Everything they need to know. And where they go from there with all of that, like predictive, the whole predictive crime, pre-crime thing that's kind of, I don't know if you've read anything about that.
Like Minority Report stuff?
Exactly.
No?
Are you going to commit a crime? What are you thinking? We're getting into scary territory here. We're getting into some Blade Runner shit.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. And then part of me thinks, like, what's the end game? That they're getting all this information from it. Like, let's just use me for an example.
Right.
They're looking through all my stuff.
Not right now. No. They're just collecting it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. What are they going to do with it? What could they possibly get?
Like I said, it could be benign. It could be just, they're looking for patterns in large groups of people. Age group. They know your age, obviously.
Yeah.
I've read that this information is being fed into computers for AI purposes, artificial intelligence.
Okay.
They're trying to develop artificial intelligence.
Facial. That's what that thing was in China. I'm sorry. It was facial recognition to track the people. They had their cameras going. They were just that's what it was. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's a good example, though,
Yeah.
facial recognition.
Yeah.
A lot of these things, they're not going to be working for you, okay? At the end of the day, these things aren't going to be, sure, right now you can say, hey, Alexa, order me a whatever. But at the end of the day, it's going to be turned on you. Very much like we're seeing things now. Like I said in part 1, the walls are getting closer in. People are being censored. People are being removed from platforms. You're not allowed to, go against the,
Yeah.
official word. That's a problem.
What do you
We're
think
touching on some things here. We'll probably get censored too.
You're talking that face you made. Talking about being removed from social media and stuff. I think it's kind of odd. Not that I'm not pro or anti-Trump at all, but the fact he got removed.
The president.
He's the president. Was the president.
He was, right. If you believe there was a president.
Well, you know what I mean. What the hell, though?
Right.
Like, how could they? Alex Jones got taken off. Love him or hate him.
Yeah, like what's the point of removing these people? If Alex Jones is a clown, who gives a shit what he
Yeah.
says on?
Doesn't he even admit that's mostly a character?
I think he did in court.
Oh, is that what that? Okay, all right.
That
makes
he
sense.
Did in court.
Either way, it's
Does he
entertaining
believe his
as
line
hell.
of bullshit? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I
guess.
don't know.
I don't know. Either way,
I
he should be
absolutely
allowed
believe my
to
line
say
of
it.
bullshit.
I know. Oh, I know. Well, it's like I don't know. Part of this is a whole different topic, but like, aren't you supposed to be allowed to say whatever the hell you want to say? And if people hate it, they don't have to listen to you. But instead, they want you fired, kicked off stuff,
Muted.
You want you to get in trouble for saying stuff they don't like.
I know it's ridiculous.
I hate it. Like, who cares? Just don't listen.
Right.
Unless they're hurting people, obviously. But
Hey, you think about how things have changed just the past few years with that, with all the people that are being knocked off. And we're not even talking about people that are, Donald Trump or Alex Jones or anybody that's even crazy outlandish. And sure, I think a lot of Alex Jones things was probably the school shooting
Sandy
thing?
Hook.
Yeah.
All about it was fake or something like that.
Yeah, I think that was probably a lot of what got him kicked off was saying shit like that.
And I get it. It's a shitty thing to say, for
Right.
sure. Horrible. But
Again, you don't have to listen to his spiel.
Yeah.
I'm in the conspiracy. We are in the conspiracy world, and speaking only for myself here, I don't listen to Alex Jones when it comes to anything.
No, not at all.
He's the last person in the world I would ever go to any information on. But again, I know he
To
has a
take
huge following and
seriously.
people love him. And what's that?
To take seriously. Don't get information to take seriously from him.
Yeah,
I enjoy a good Alex Jones rant.
Absolutely.
It's hilarious.
It's
It's for
just
pure entertainment.
his presentation.
Right.
As like an evangelical preacher, I don't like yelling. I want somebody that just gives me the information, and I can make my own, guess as to what's going on, which is what we're trying to do here for everybody. Okay,
Who's that?
we're editorializing right now. We've kind of gone off the rails again, which we tend to do in our episodes.
Yeah,
But
I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm just laughing over here about that. Did you see the Alex Jones video where he's yelling, he's screaming at a pile
which one?
at a pile of dog shit? I think he said he was interviewing, I don't remember who. He was supposed to be interviewing, I want to say Marco Rubio. And it was like the big interview with him, and he's on the ground screaming at a piece of dog shit because he doesn't like Marco Rubio. Like that is wrestling stuff.
Yeah, that's
great.
wrestling.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, I get it. I mean, that's the guy's got Rolexes, man. You know, he's got to sell them vitamins. You know, he's got to do stuff like that to get wild and crazy, and he's got to be a showman.
Yeah, well, he's doing it.
Yeah.
So
people listen to us; they get this quality program for free.
This is real stuff, though. Everything we're talking about is like factual.
Yeah. So anyway, it's
Our opinions are truth.
There's no opinions here.
That's true.
Anyway,
right, so are we getting back onto this, or what were we talking about before we started all this?
chemtrails.
Chemtrails to COVID,
Yeah,
and then
it's okay.
dog shit and Marco Rubio.
It's okay that we jump around a little bit.
Yeah.
If you have to, this is going to be a very long episode. I think the last one was right about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Hell, you may have to cut this one up and make 3 parts out of it.
Hey.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Just fast forward.
If you don't want to hear anything about
it. Most podcast apps that I have used have like a 15-second skip. 30.
Yeah.
Just click those
and
a
I
few
think
times.
you can actually change that too, like minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah. Played it three times speed.
Right.
Yeah.
And just go through it like so. Okay, so do you want to get back into chemtrails?
Yeah.
All right, not really chemtrails, but things that have happened in the past that were very chemtrail-like in their appearance, in their operation, things that were done. So
Right.
we had just mentioned Operation Popeye, cloud seeding operation that took place in Vietnam, and Operation Sea Spray. I've got a few more here. I'm just going to go through the list if you want me to.
Do it.
And just kind of go through them, get them out of the way. All right, and so again, a lot of this information was pulled from Wikipedia because one operation listing on their page will just lead you to another and another and another, and there's quite a few.
Oh yeah, like there's like a YouTube rabbit hole. It's so much easier for a Wikipedia rabbit hole for me.
Yeah, definitely. They're and of course, as we're researching for a podcast, you've got to keep going.
Yeah.
So anyway, just going to read through a few of these here. Let's see. Between 1949 and 1969, open-air tests of biological agents were conducted 239 times. I'd like to inject my own thought there. These are the ones they know about.
That happened.
These are the ones that are known to have happened.
Right.
In 80 of those experiments, the Army said it used live bacteria that its researchers at the time thought were harmless. We think they're harmless. Probably won't do shit. Let's do it. Let's spray them.
Think, probably. Those are words you want with right before harmless.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're spraying a city with something.
Yeah.
In the others, it used inert chemicals to simulate bacteria. They're assuming they were inert to not cause a problem.
Right.
One inert chemical to somebody may not be inert to somebody else.
That is true. Very true.
Possibly. So, like in the 1950s, Army researchers dispersed, oh gosh, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Serratia?
That sounds right.
I'm sure I'm butchering it. On Panama City and Key West, Florida, with no known illnesses resulting. So I'm assuming that's a bacteria. Why don't you...
so how do you spell that? That's
Serra.
Serra. Yep.
TIA.
Wow. Yeah, I would never have gotten that. It's a... Let me see what we got.
Let's find out what that is real quick. I'm assuming it's another bacteria.
Wow. Okay, the first sentence. Serratia.
I think I said it right.
Is a genus of gram-negative, facultatively anaerobic, rod-shaped bacteria of the family Yersineaceae.
Okay, so we're just with another bacteria.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they sprayed it on Panama City and Key West, Florida. For what purpose, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to check dispersal patterns, I don't know. That's I still don't think they should be doing it, okay? But that's very much like chemtrails, okay? Also in the 1950s, Army researchers dispersed zinc cadmium sulfide, now a known cancer-causing agent, over Minnesota and other Midwestern states to see how far they would spread in the atmosphere. The particles were detected more than 1,000 miles away in New York State. That's a problem. That's a big one.
Yeah.
So 1950s, they're dispersing this over states. So when people say chemtrails, there's actually something to that. That's my point. That's our point here with this podcast, focusing on chemtrails And you could probably do this with I don't know if you could do that with flat Earth, but you could do this with a lot of conspiracy theories that there's reasons for them.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You have something there, buddy?
Nope. I was waiting for the next Ceratetia or whatever it was.
Oh, okay.
And I was, as you were talking, I was looking at that. If you guys want any info on that, just go to the wiki. There's all kinds. There's like 80 different types of that bacteria. It can cause urinary tract infections.
Right. And how do they not know that this one was or wasn't going to cause those same problems with the people that they sprayed it on?
Yeah.
Oh, we think it's not going to hurt anybody.
Pneumonia.
See, that's a respiratory issue.
Yep.
Right?
Endocarditis. Not sure what that is.
There's all kinds.
A lot of itises.
Wait, say that again.
I lost it. Endocarditis.
Okay, so like when you say carditis, I want to think maybe something with the heart because COVID is supposed to, and I had that similar issue with my when I had the COVID as well, myocarditis, which I think is something about the virus attacking a particular muscle group in the heart and causing like weird heart palpitations. So I did have that. That went on for quite a while with me, but when you say carditis, I think something with the heart.
Yeah, and then it says it's frequently found in showers, toilet bowls, and around wetted tiles as a pinkish to red biofilm. I've seen that in the shower.
Go to like
I guess
a
that's what it
campground
is.
or something and use like a public shower at a campground.
Yeah,
pretty funky.
Definitely not my shower.
You want to wear flip-flops into those showers.
Yep.
When you go to the campgrounds. And then
but only causes diseases in immunocompromised individuals. That's it.
That's the one, the first one listed, right?
Yep.
So again, people had been sick. People had prior comorbidities, issues, problems. There's going to be some cracking in my voice. It's been
fine.
like that for a couple of days now. I don't know why. I'm guessing my allergies or something. Or maybe it's the Delta.
Yeah.
Or the Lambda. I got the Lambda and the Delta now. So, okay. So continuing on, Bacillus globigii, another bacteria never shown to be harmful to people, was released in San Francisco, New York, Washington D.C., and along the Pennsylvania Turnpike, among other places. Now you're laughing over there. Isn't this kind of funny?
Yeah. I mean,
isn't this kind of wacky that this shit's going on?
It is. I mean, you just said all this, and the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
These are the ones that's listed.
I know.
I'm assuming they're trying to see if it could perhaps make its way into cars, maybe if they're
around a little bit.
Yeah, if they're focusing on that kind of a thing. Continuing on, in New York, military researchers in 1966 spread that same bacillus variant, also believed to be harmless, in the subway system by dropping light bulbs filled with the bacteria onto tracks in stations in Midtown Manhattan. The bacteria were carried for miles throughout the subway system. Army officials concluded in a January 1968 report, quote, similar covert attacks with a pathogenic disease-causing agent during peak traffic periods could be expected to expose large numbers of people to infection and subsequent illness or death, end quote. So they're testing these things to see if it's like the kind of the way they're paying these laboratories to develop these different viruses, so they have a way to supposedly prevent them from being, or that they could develop vaccines to help. I've lost my train of thought. That's what happens when you get 2 beers in me, and
Is it? So you're saying it's like in the event that they're being used on us by a foreign entity, we can have some sort of a defense
we're
against
funding.
it. We would know how to stop it from moving.
Yeah, and
spreading.
Supposedly, create a vaccine for it.
Right.
If it gets released. I guess that's the purpose of doing something like that. But still, they're doing it with people, and they're not telling them. It's being done without their knowledge.
I mean, you kind of got to have, if you're going to do that experiment, you got to have that.
If you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs.
Exactly. You got to have like the natural, let people go about their day-to-day lives.
Right. Because if they
see
knew,
what happens. And if they know about it, the whole experiment ruined.
Right. Null and void.
Yeah.
This is just the last one listed. And again, I just pulled these from Wikipedia. May 1965, secret release of the same sort of another part of the Bacillus bacteria family at Washington's National Airport and its Greyhound bus lines terminal. More than 130 passengers were exposed to the bacteria, traveling to 39 cities in 7 states, and in 2 weeks following the mock attack. So they just wanted to see, I guess, how long it would last in these people as they dispersed out all over the country.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of examples of bacteria being dispersed. Again, going back to the other ones where they from an airplane dispersed the bacteria over Minnesota, other Midwestern states, and New York as well, where they particles traveled.
How were
thousands of miles?
How were these dispersed? I know you said the light bulbs, but who is throwing the light bulbs?
I don't know.
They just get
agents.
They just get and just one guy just throws a bulb out of his pocket like Andy Dufresne in the yard. He just rolls it down his pant leg.
Could be.
It's that simple.
In some instances, I guess so.
Yeah. Okay.
But obviously we have airplanes being used here to disperse these things over states and cities, and a ship being used in the Operation Sea Spray in 1950.
That
pumping that shit out.
That is where the chemtrail thing gets a little crazy to me. Such a scale, the amount of people involved that would have to all be in on it.
Right. Because the idea behind the whole chemtrails thing is that it's being done all over the U.S. all the time, all around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that becomes a problem.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know. I mean, it's obvious because everybody sees it. Everybody knows what we're talking about when you see one of those things in the sky. It's like, oh, that's from a plane. But are there that many just people in on this whole conspiracy that are willing to just fly around up there, spraying this stuff out? That's my whole thing with a lot of these conspiracies is it would take so many people. 9/11, it would take so many people in on that one.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that before. I wouldn't say like I've heard that argument before. Actually, I think I was texting Steven and talking about that a little bit.
The 9/11?
Well, just like fact? when you're talking about like a conspiracy, there would have to be a lot of people. There would have to be thousands of people using 9/11 as an example.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case because of an important thing known as, like in the intelligence community anyway, compartmentalization. Not everybody knows everything.
Right.
So you think about a government agency or a group of people that work in a company, a large company, for example, right? You got people that are at the bottom. You got people that are, the next level up, that know a little more, that are paid more, and you kind of just work your way up the ladder. Eventually you get to the top. I, work for a company, for example. I have no idea what plans are ultimately being made by the people at the very top. I have no clue. They could shut the company down tomorrow. I'd have no idea. So, and again, I'm at the very bottom. I'm a serf. I'm a peasant. I'm a grunt. I do the job, but I don't know the bigger picture. And I would say that that's probably the case in a lot of these operations.
Yeah.
Certainly the case with a lot of false flags. I think there's a lot of compartmentalization. People are left off to their own, make secret deals maybe with other intelligence agencies that maybe the people at the top don't know about, or maybe they do. And, things are just allowed to happen. Things are allowed to happen. So
yeah.
Compartmentalization is kind of a big deal, I think.
Right. I get it. But like the Operation Sea Spray, for example, that's one boat. It's a big city, but it's just one boat.
One ship.
You know what I mean? It's not like this. How many pilots are in the sky at any point in time doing this?
Right.
Chemtrails. I'm just going back to chemtrails.
That's why, yeah. Which also, just what we were talking about earlier too, disinformation. Maybe that was thrown out there to make people think and to just, make people think that, there's nothing to it. It sounds crazy because it is crazy.
Right.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation injected into the,
That's just part of it.
Yeah, I think it's just part of it.
Yeah.
And that's part of the challenge, is sort of navigating all that information to find out what's legit and what's not.
Yeah.
Because you're right, the scope of the thing is huge.
Yeah.
And you're talking about all the time. Think about every time you see what would be a chemtrail, what they would call a chemtrail, but ultimately is probably a condensation trail.
Yeah.
And you don't always see them because if it's a condensation trail, the atmospherics have to be right for those to hang in the air like they do. And
yeah.
So they don't always happen. Go long periods of time where I don't ever see those. You're probably the same way.
Or you can just see a plane flying with nothing, and then out of nowhere, it starts doing it. So that's another one of those things. People are like, oh, now it's spraying.
Right.
But it just hit a different pocket of air.
Right. Could be more moisture in that.
Moisture, yeah.
Right.
So.
And a pilot has described the condensation trail thing to me, because I brought that up to him. He's a pilot for Delta for 30 plus years. And I was just kind of like, hey, what do you think about chemtrails?
I said a pilot for what now?
Delta.
I don't trust him. He's a variant.
Right, the variant. Yeah, he had a pretty good laugh about that. He says there's just condensation trails.
Yeah,
and it all has to do with layers of moisture and the
I
conditions have to be right for them and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's like I've heard that it's as you know, it's cold up there.
Right,
the air, so that heated air's coming out with water vapor in it.
Right.
It's gonna mix with that cold air. You got a cloud. That's what that is.
But hey, if you have information that leads you to believe that chemtrails are correct, by all means. We're not here to dispel any conspiracy or myth. That's not my job. What I'm saying is there's definitely a reason for people thinking that this could be done, because the government has done things like this in the past.
Right.
And these are well documented. And a lot of people don't know about any of the things that we've just talked about, like Operation Sea Spray and those other, like the cloud seeding, These things happen. They exist. We can control the weather to some degree. They were from an aircraft spraying something into the, atmosphere to cause it to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So
is this kind of like, what are your thoughts on global warming? Are they doing this on purpose? I've heard that conspiracy as well.
Who's they?
Exactly. Like who?
That's always the question.
I know. But I've heard that's kind of in the same vein, sort of, as this. Controlling the weather, controlling the climate.
Yeah. Well, at least in the small sense of a localized area, like with that particular Operation Popeye. Could it be done globally? I don't know. That's probably not.
You wouldn't think so
on the whole planet. But what was the thing that was it Bill Gates was wanting to do by blocking out the sun over in like Sweden or something like that? They were going to do something. Did you?
I have not heard of that, but I love that idea.
I think they thought, hey, maybe this is a bad idea. I did read one recently that was kind of wacky, and it had something to do with, and I can't remember the name of it right now. Not that we're going to go down this path here, but they were going to explode a nuclear bomb on the moon in like 1959. You ever heard that one?
Just that.
This isn't a conspiracy, by the way, just like these other things we were talking about. But if you told somebody that, you'd sound like a maniac, right? But they were actually going to do it to sort of show supremacy to the Russians and others at the time.
Those damn Russians again.
Yeah. Can you imagine what that would have probably done had they attempted this? They've ultimately, I think this is a bad idea. I don't think we should do this. Ultimately is what they said. And I even think they consulted Carl Sagan at the time to find out what the effects.
He didn't like it.
I don't. I think it was like, think it's a bad idea, guys.
Yeah. It seems like it could cause some problems. I mean, I'm not a scientist of any sort, but I think that could cause a few issues.
I never know where our conversations are going to lead when we do. I mean, we have sort of a basic outline here, but like outline. But I wish I would have these things pulled up on my phone. That was known as Project A119, also known as a study of lunar research flights, was a top secret plan developed in 1958 by the United States Air Force. The aim of the project was to detonate a nuclear bomb on the moon, which would help in answering some of the mysteries in planetary astronomy and astrogeology. Again, bad idea, I think.
I guess I just don't understand what that would do other than just being the badasses.
Hey, look, a document.
Hit the moon. Oh,
there's part of their paperwork there on their little project.
It's a nifty little logo.
Hey, guys, I think this is a great idea. Let's just blow up a nuclear bomb on the moon.
Yeah.
We're ruled by madmen. I know I've said that 1,000 times, but we really are. They're complete and total psychopaths.
Yeah, but I mean...
Yeah, Carl Sagan was part of it. A young Carl Sagan was part of the team responsible for predicting the effects of a nuclear explosion in vacuum and low gravity, and in evaluating the scientific value of the project.
What did he say? Is there I don't even look into it. I just know there's a quote right there.
I don't think there's any quotes from what he actually said about it, but I can assume, just given what I've seen and read of Carl Sagan and his more optimistic, less invasive approach to human activity, he probably said, guys, I think this is a bad idea. I don't think we should do this.
I'd say you're probably right. Yeah,
that's just my guess. I don't know.
Sounds like something he would say.
I don't want to speak for Carl here, but
yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of that one before?
I've heard like that was a thing. Like I didn't know if it was out of some book, fiction book or non. I didn't know. I've heard of that, but didn't know if it was real or not. But apparently it was.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't know that stuff. It annoys me when they do that stuff under the ocean.
It absolutely pisses me off.
Yeah, like
you're killing everything for miles.
What is that? Imagine being just a whale and you're just swimming and then a nuke goes off right next to you. What the hell?
And I guess they continue to do that too.
Yeah, I just saw a video of it recently. That's why I thought of it. Like,
yeah, that was recent, right? There was one recently.
Yeah,
a gigantic explosion.
Huge. Like it gave the ocean an earthquake. The aircraft carrier.
And they've been doing this since the development of the bomb in the 40s, 50s.
That can't be. Like I sort of get it in like Nevada or whatever in the desert, but I don't know. It just seems to me like water would carry that stuff a lot longer,
absolutely would,
better, further.
Yeah,
but
everything dies.
But
yeah, think about that. Everything dies anywhere within probably a 20-mile radius of that bomb going off. Everything is dead. You know how sensitive it is when you're underwater. You've been in a pool.
Yeah.
And sound, somebody can, on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I say don't tap on a tank.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. And this is leading us right back to those little guys that came out of aerial school. We're walking right into it with that stuff.
Absolutely.
So
it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that pisses me off so much when I see those things when they're doing those tests.
Yep.
And we don't even, in what we see, I mean, we have no clue what they're actually doing. If we see something, if we're permitted to see some video from a bomb, Jesus Christ, we have no idea what they're actually doing out there in these remote sections of the earth. We have no idea what they're testing.
Yeah.
We have no clue. So what we do know is absolutely terrifying and depressing.
Yeah, God only knows what is really happening. It's like that. It's like Chernobyl. That thing, that's still going. Isn't it still dangerous over there? How long ago was that?
I think that was that in the 70s?
I wanted to say that, but I'm not. I'm 80s.
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 Could
70s,
be early
80s. Something like that.
Sorry, I don't know certain dates right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I apologize for that. Again, we don't know where this conversation is going to go, so
we're kind of just conspiracy chit-chat.
Yeah. Conspiracy chit-chat. We're just winging it. Yeah, you can't just, go hang out over there for any length of time. I wouldn't think
it's still not safe.
Right.
So I don't know. Like, can you go to where they tested in Nevada? Can you just go there? Is there a difference between a meltdown and an explosion? It seems to me like the meltdown is leading to the explosion, and then this here is I obviously I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but in my head that's how it works.
Yeah, but like so they were, I'm assuming this was all just this land in Nevada where all of these bombs were exploded would have been like federal land, probably far away from cities. However, doesn't the fallout get into the atmosphere and travel?
Yeah,
doesn't it move along?
Isn't that what nuclear winter? Isn't that what that is? It gets in the atmosphere.
Yeah,
darkness.
And I think
cold.
I read one time that there's been like 2,000 nuclear bombs exploded since the inception of the program.
Yeah.
Okay, so where has all that radiation gone?
That's a darn good question. That's what I'm saying. It's still at Chernobyl, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Where they test, does nothing live there?
I wouldn't think so.
I want to live there. Sounds great. That was
probably not
joke
safe.
About Pete. I know. I want to be alone. I want to be left the hell alone.
I do
I was
too.
getting at there.
That's all I want. Just leave me alone. I had a couple of just kind of going back, unless you want to.
No. Sorry, I was trying to read about meltdown and explosion, the difference, but it kind of gets into detail there.
Oh,
and I don't.
Not while we're live.
Yeah, no.
You'll prepare some notes for the next podcast.
Large words.
I had a few articles here that were, and I think a couple of these anyway, just kind of were going over the bullet points of the different spraying operations that had taken place in the past. But there was one, gosh, I wish I'd made a note here, talking about just sort of the germ tests, bacteria tests on people. But I can just kind of go through a couple of these.
Yeah.
If you want me to here for just real quick.
Do it.
So like this one's from the Wall Street Journal. And this would have been 2001. And let's see, I think this may be talking about, I'll just read it here. Actually, gosh, how many pages is it? I don't want to read the whole thing. I wish I'd made some notes. This one is 4 pages.
Oh, my God.
Just that one article.
What was it called?
What's that?
What's this one about?
It just has to do with more, spraying operations, biological testing.
Do you have any like specific titles? Operation Popeye, Sea Spray. What else you got?
No. This is right. There was one that was
like another. Is it
stand by
fancy operation name?
No, I mean it's all under the same sort of heading here, as being just having to do with bacteria spraying and whatnot. Anyway,
yeah,
I can. You know what we'll do? I'll post links to these articles, and you can read them for yourself, because it's just kind of going over the same thing. It's getting a little more specific. I just don't want to waste people's time by sitting here reading this stuff.
Well, I have a little a fun fact that I can tell the people about if you're trying to look for something specific.
Go ahead.
Are you? Let me just ask you before you start reading. Are you familiar with what a portmanteau is?
I am not.
A portmanteau.
Never heard that one before.
Speaking of Wikipedia rabbit holes, and
I
was looking at some chemtrails, and it said a chemtrail is a portmanteau, Teau. So a little, and that's one of those words, chemtrail, chemical, contrail, chemtrail. That's one of those words. It's a word blending the sounds and combining the meanings of two others. Motel, podcast. That's what we're doing. iPod, broadcast. Portmanteau, though. I've never heard that term before.
I've never heard it either.
It made me so happy to figure out a new word.
That's good.
That's all. That was my little fun fact.
That's awesome, man.
I'm done, though. Did you find anything? That's all I got.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
Glad you were able to do that, though. No, that one news article was basically just talking about Operation Sea Spray. So I eliminated one out of the 4 that I have handy here.
All right.
There was one that was talking about, and actually, perhaps the next episode when we were kind of going over some housekeeping, I'll focus on this one in particular where they were spraying some military guys, some soldiers, unbeknownst to them. And I'm pretty sure it's in one of these articles here, but I just can't seem to find it because I didn't just abbreviate these darn things. I just printed the whole things out. But like I said, in the next episode, during our little housekeeping section before we start getting into whatever it is we're talking about next,
Yep,
I'll bring that up. But they were basically sprayed with a pathogen, and they didn't know about it, and they experienced some
sprayed as
side
in
effects.
Sprayed like chemtrail type spray, sea spray type
Yeah,
spray,
they were
or like
sprayed,
a
basically,
mace type spray
from an aircraft.
Okay.
I want to say helicopter, but I could be wrong.
Okay, that seems like the way to do it.
Right,
that,
with the down
yeah,
spray of the.
let's get it
the
down
air.
and get it down there.
And then a lot of these, this particular article, which is very lengthy, which again, I can get these links to you so you can read them for yourself. This one's from 2001. Wall Street Journal, not some wacky blog. This is just mainstream news here talking about this stuff.
Some dumb podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going over a bunch of these. It's going over the ones that I just mentioned. The known different operations where they had sprayed pathogens and whatnot over many cities. So again, something to the whole chemtrail thing, not the chemtrail conspiracy specifically as it stands today.
Right. Just the concept.
The concept of.
Right.
There's a reason why people think that they could be doing something like that. That's the point of just trying to talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
And bring that up. So anyway,
and
I think that's pretty good for the chemtrails. Kind of just trying to prove a point, that's all.
Yeah, not going in deep on the chemtrail conspiracy itself, just like Josh was saying, the concept of. And I think that the chemtrails is by far the most popular.
It's pretty
of
popular.
Those, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty well known. That's kind of why, like, just looking at all the different ones, I picked that one out of a hat. Like I said, it just seemed to be the one that a lot of people would be familiar with.
Yeah, for sure.
And that there's some legitimacy to it, you know? But anyway, I've got a whole bunch of other topics here that I had prepared to prove a point.
You want to?
We're not going to get into those today.
Okay.
I don't think.
Well, one day, maybe the next episode, maybe a couple episodes from now, we'll do another conspiracy chit-chat.
Well, conspiracy chit-chat.
What do you think? I just make that up. You can tell me to go to hell. I'm just spitballing while recording.
I think that's a I think that's a good idea.
Okay. All right.
Because that's kind of what this turned into.
Yeah, and I like that.
Yeah,
I think it's good. So, well, all right.
How long we been going?
I guess that's that. An hour 43.
Oh, I think that's plenty for this.
Yeah.
Part 2 episode.
Part 2. Okay.
Another week or two. Hell, there may be a part 3 to it.
You never know.
Sorry about all those F-bombs I've been dropping lately. Gosh,
hey,
now that I
right,
feel free to do it.
Hey, we're finally coming into this here. We're getting angry, vexed. So, yeah.
Terribly. We're coming into our own here.
So, that's this episode. I guess if you're upset, angry, mad, disagree with anything we said,
which you may be,
drop us a line.
Yeah.
At Terribly Vexed Podcast at gmail.com. Josh, what's your phone number? Go. Text Josh. What else we got? Terribly Vexed Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah. I post things there regularly.
And I think that's really, we don't do Facebook. Stupid.
I still haven't posted anything on our Twitter yet. We're not terribly socially.
Do people still use Twitter
Yes.
regularly.
People are moving away from it's pretty
Okay.
mainstream now. So like, people get censored on there quite a bit. They get kicked off for a while for violating their terms of service, like with all these shitty social media apps.
You know what we need to start doing? The My Pillow guy, he's got his own thing. What was that? Did you see that whole thing?
I don't remember the name of it.
I don't either, but it was
But there's a lot of them now.
short-lived, I think.
What is it?
It was very short-lived. I think he got a load of grief live on the air somewhere. And he said they were being hacked or something like that. Like the calls were coming in, and it was just prank calls.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're being hacked. So he shut it down. I think. I don't know. You know what we should start doing though?
What?
Looking at your face, looking at me like I'm an idiot. This would make a great.
I don't know where this is going. That's why look. I don't like.
It would make a.
What's he gonna say?
Great TikTok video. Let's start doing TikToks.
All right.
That's what the kids do. While we're recording, we'll just sit here, make funny faces, dance. I don't know.
We were going to do a live on location going to Fort Mountain to look at the dwelling of the Moon-Eyed people. We never did that.
I forgot all about that.
What's that?
I forgot about that.
Oh. That's a long time. That's
we
like
can still do
episode 3,
it.
right?
We'll still do it. We'll take first TikTok video. Dancing on the ruins of that wall.
From the Fort Mountain, Georgia.
Yeah. All right. I think that's about it. I got everything out, didn't I?
Did you?
Email, Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just drop us a line, email us. And Missing Enigma YouTube channel. Check that out.
Yeah, check out that video. Very interesting.
All the videos are really interesting. It's just a lot of missing people.
I think that's his niche.
Yeah.
I think that's his genre is missing people. I didn't look into a lot of the other ones, but yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. So
thank you for joining us.
And that is all.
See you next time.
Yep.